The story begins in a small, forgotten town where desperation was often louder than hope. In those days, human dignity was sometimes traded for mere coins, and auctions were not just for livestock but for people who had no say in their own fate. Among the crowd of bidders stood a lonely lumberjack named Elias. His life was hard, filled with endless days of chopping wood, hauling logs, and returning each night to an empty cabin deep in the forest. He had no family left, no children to call his own, and no wife to welcome him home. His heart longed for companionship, but his rugged life and rough exterior kept him apart from others. One afternoon, whispers ran through the town about an unusual auction. A group of men had brought a woman with a sack covering her head, tied at the wrists as though she were nothing more than an object. The crowd gathered with cruel curiosity, mocking and laughing at the sight. The auctioneer raised his voice, announcing that the woman had been sold off by those who no longer wanted her. She was frightened, trembling under the sack, her silence only making the crowd more entertained. People shouted out degrading jokes while others scoffed, saying she wasn't worth even a penny. The auctioneer grew frustrated at the lack of bids. Just as he was about to pull her away, Elias, the quiet lumberjack, stepped forward. He pulled 2 crumpled dollars from his pocket, money he had earned from backbreaking work. The crowd roared with laughter. $2? For a woman you can't even see? They mocked. But Elias didn't flinch. His voice was steady when he said, "I'll take her." The auctioneer smirked and struck the deal. Elias walked forward, placed the money on the table, and gently untied the ropes that bound the woman's wrists. He didn't treat her like property. Instead, he held out his hand as if offering her a choice. Slowly, he led her away from the cruel crowd and toward the quiet forest where his cabin stood. For days she remained silent, keeping the sack over her head. She ate little, spoke nothing, and seemed to carry a deep wound in her heart. Elias never forced her to remove the sack. He cooked meals, left her space, and treated her with patience. Though lonely himself, he understood pain and did not wish to add to hers. He would often chop wood outside, leaving the cabin warm and food ready on the table. One evening, as the fire crackled in the hearth, Elias sat across the room carving a piece of wood. The silence stretched between them, but it was not heavy. It was gentle. Suddenly, the woman spoke for the first time. Her voice was soft, fragile, yet filled with courage. She whispered, "My name is Anna." The simple words struck Elias like thunder. It was not just a name, it was her reclaiming her identity, her humanity. Slowly, she lifted her trembling hands to